Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen. Episode number 976, coming to you live from somewhere, nowhere, Dallas, Texas. That is right. We are home. We're in the nest. We have 1,000 things going on, and we don't know what half of them are. Hello, happy Saturday. It's the day right after Friday. Our notes for what's happened over the last 24 hours cannot even begin to go start with what is going on. We just have so much going on, and it's interesting. So it's good times. We're making sure we're supposed to have an amazing guest tonight. Boom. Here you go. We're just leaving out. Might need best if I hop on when I get back home though. This is usually not like this. Random flu and then random dinner I forgot about back to back. Really usually more organized. Caught me at a weird past few days of disorganization. So here you go. That is where we're at. So want to shout out to everyone that's joining us for, yet an amazing episode of TacoBytes all over the wall. But one of the fun things that we're doing, as we always do, is for shits and giggles. Oh no, we're not titling this that. That would be weird. We're not titling this the name of the episode. We are, for the invite link, let's copy that. Boom. There we go. Yeah. Oh, that's sort of cool. They made a new feature to where only token holders can chat. So shout out to everyone on Pump Fun. We're going to pull that off to its side, and people are going to be able, we're be able to watch that a little bit. And as always, shout out to everyone that's joining us. LinkedIn, Player One Taco, YouTube, 0x Degens, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Twittergram, Rumble, Kick, on-chain via Abstract, on-chain via Arena. And for shits and giggles, we're trying to bring a little bit more than just shitcoin education to the trenches of Pump.Fun. So huge shout out to the entire crime family. I just do gang signs, I think. Yeah. But that's how it is. We don't need our email open. No. Telegram's restarting up. That's always fun. We're just a little off because the gentleman that's going to be joining us is not here yet. So we've seen a huge, so we're about to have, I guess, what we're going to be covering is taxes. So Big Duca is going to be joining us. He is the founder of Awaken Tax. And this came about in a very interesting way. We were at Token 2049 in Singapore. Prior to that, we saw that Crypto Tax Calculator was going to be there. We shot a message, hey, would love to have you, and do a video with you and have a blast. And they were like, yes. That was that. We had a great episode with them, did an amazing interview with Nick. And then we got into there was like some Big Duca was offering like it was funny. 2 different tax companies sort of having like a Wendy's and McDonald's thing. Like, well, I'll offer 10 free, accounts, and then like there was just awesome stuff. It was just a great little, and I was like, and then Big Duca was like, hey, how do I get interviewed? And I was like, you ask. So we were supposed to have Big Duca on Thursday. Yeah. He got sick. So we postponed till today. He is running from a dinner to this. So that's sort of where we're at. But what I really want to talk about is all of the ins and outs of what are you tracking when it comes to taxes? Do you track just your on-ramp, off-ramping? There's new regulations in place with a new form, a 1099 DA. Next year, the form's going to be even different. It's going to track profits and losses. This year, not. Oh, I cut myself. But yeah, so, what do you do with your profits? How you do it? Do you keep track of the 10,000 tiny transactions you do each day? As you're trying out new apps and signing up for new accounts, like it's almost like at the point to where do I track every single micro purchase I make on Clash of Clans, and that's sort of where, there's a lot of questions for a lot of people, because every time you open, a non self-custodial wallet account, is there a difference between that? These are the things that like I want to get answers to. You might want to get answers to them. You might just want to watch the shit show. I don't care. I'm happy that you're here. I have this show so I can talk to people and I can talk and find out these things. So we'll see if he comes, oh man. I'm looking at the crime chart yesterday, and that is legit coins 10 NTG to check if this stream is legit. Yeah. Search for bots posting random messages. If you are legit. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck happened to the chart yesterday. Oh yeah, the entire fucking shit fucking melted down. I don't know. Can we fix that with buying a little bit of crime? I don't know. Let's see if that helps. Who knows? We burnt more crime. It's Solana's fucking dumped. We've seen the entire market take off. So that's one of those hard things to see, but dude, buy some more. Did that help it out at all? No. Oh, I'm muted. Right on. Thanks. I hope I fix that now. So, like I said, welcome to the shit show. But as the rest of the fucking thing goes on, so we're going to be having Big Duca from Awaken Tax join us. We're going to be able to talk about like is getting like, are you, well, if you even care about tracking your taxes, and losses and stuff like that, how do you go about doing that in a platform where 95% of the things that you're buying go to zero? Do you track every new account you create on every new platform? Even if it's a non-custodial wallet, if you're not able to export the keys for it, is it under your control? Is this a self-custody piece? How is that labeled? Do you just label and track your on-ramp, off-ramp stuff? So we're gonna wait for Big Duca, see if he comes. If he's not able to, he is racing home. Ready and live. Get here. So that's what we're gonna go for. But it's one of those fun things that we get to sort of see. So I just sort of, but the thing that really got me was like the beef that Big Duca had with Crypto Text Calculator, and how legit he was on trying to come on this show, by posting that like he was having a conversation with Thread Guy to be on Thread Guy's show. Like I am the hardest person to get on their show. It's, asked to be on a show, get assigned to show up. That's how hard it is. Just because I like talking to builders and founders for things that I want to learn about. And I fucking love, oh, there you go. Let me see him. Let's send him one more invite piece. Boop, boop, boop. Boom. Oh no. Boom. There you go. That's one of the things by what we're gonna go over. So we're just gonna be silent for now. But I don't know. We're gonna go look at some of our Degen shit, because this is the thing that we get to sort of see and look at. Let's see what's going on. Liquidity pools at 41%. Bonding curve, we're still at 75%. Bonding curve gone up. Who cares? Holdings have gone up. So, yay. That's just fun. Let's go put that over there right now. So, shout out to everyone that's joining us on Pump Fun. Shout out to everyone on LinkedIn, Player One Taco, YouTube, Xerox Degens, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Telegram, Rumble, Kick, and all of those fun things in between. All right, so tire screen and audio. Boom. Let's see here. All right. And I know how to do this on Pump Fun. It's just been forever, it feels like. I'm not streaming all the time on Pump Fun when I'm what's the word I'm thinking of? When I'm streaming on the road. So just coming back from Korea, just coming back from Singapore, amazing times. Getting ready to head to Las Vegas for Money 2020. Go talk to a whole bunch of institutional people about blockchain, which is always fun. So, yeah, I don't know. Where are we looking today? How much in the red are we on these things? Let's go see. How bad is our portfolio today? Yeah. All right, let's update it. Up 1% today. Polygon took a hit, but what I love about these things is we usually have like hit pretty well in the arbitrage pieces. So providing liquidity, huge amounts of movement. So we have a whole bunch of ETH USDC positions that are just, our genius position. We got just under a fourth, 0.4 ETH there. We're in range. That makes us happy. Other positions on Uniswap. So we got a lot of fees to collect on some of them. Our V2s, we got a whole bunch. I think we have a bunch of positions out of range. Yeah. So we have a bunch of ETH USDC positions are out. So, we'll close those, take those down, but oh well. They add up. Stater, okay. 625. Oh, we can unlock that. Some Matic X on Stater. Woo. Some stupid stuff on Polygon. All right, but let's go. The portfolio stuff, I don't know if you guys have been using the portfolio feature over on Jupe.ag, but we like it. So, yeah, we got our all domains airdrop yesterday. That one's really easy to claim. Can't be in the US when you claim it. So I use a VPN for my security. For some reason, my computer always thinks I'm in Denmark or Norway. I was able to claim it, no issue. Moonwalk, you have to claim through the app. So, just little things to claim. Nothing to stake yet with. But let's see how many positions we have out of position. We have a lot of Taco. We have a lot of Crime. Those are all in position. Play button. Totally. Ready Soul. That one, getting ready to rebalance. Auto rebalance. We're going to take these all off of auto compound and just have them on boops. Yeah. Just have them on auto rebalance. That's what we're going to leave these all at for now, because it allows us to take those fees, earn token. Auto fleet claiming is where it just takes all the token pieces and turns it into SOL for you. But we want tokens too. And right now, everything is down so bad. Like, we were just focused on a couple things. We were focused on Bitcoin, ETH, and SOL, and then a couple DeFi, DEI plays. But like, we missed out on a ton of plays yesterday. Chainlink dropped to like, oh man, like today's the 11th still, right? So 7 days, yeah. Look at that. That dropped down to like $12, and then went right back up. So like, there was a lot of opportunity to pick things up yesterday and make some money. And so I think that's like the people that were liquid. That's why we didn't see prices completely drive back up to where they were, because people bought and they were looking for those quick flips and stuff. So we'll see things going back up. People want to talk about like, this is just as the beginning, of something worse. But yeah, let's see here. how much supply do you own, honestly? How much supply do I own, honestly? I would say probably under 20%. 10% is 10%, 10, 11% is set aside in marketing. The rest of it is locked up in Jupe vaults and Streamflow vaults. And then the rest of the, we're at like 7. I've burned like 7% of the supply right now. So I hope that, that's sort of where we're at. We distribute out from the marketing wallet and within the Telegram group, sort of keep everything, above board and awareness on that. So, yeah. Sneak peek for the influencer. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how much of the supply I own, So I'd say right now, yeah, probably closer to 15%. I would have to double check that, but in the TG group, there's a spreadsheet link to everything I've bought, what I've burned. I kept it live for a while. I would have to go back through and go through that total supply piece. So, but it's my freaking token. So yeah, I have to be able to have a bunch of it to be able to give out as rewards. So yeah. That is what I do. Hope that is um 11%. Burn it or boom. There you go. Sure. Boop. I'm just gonna ban that guy. Ban that one. Oh wow, it's like a whole bunch of little spam bots. Boom. There we go. So yeah, there we go. All right. I hope that answers that question for you. And let's go back to waiting, because that's what we're doing right now. And while we're waiting for Andrew, we're gonna go finish going through our LP stuff. So, because the question is this a taxable event? Probably, maybe not, but who knows? when automations automatically happen, does that become a taxable event? Auto compound off. Is it like beefy? Like it only counts when we put it in versus when we take it out? These are big questions. But let's finish checking. We got to redo all of these auto range pieces, So once we're gonna have to fix some of these ones. So let's see here. We'll open that anew, open that anew, open that anew, open that anew, open that anew. Nope. All right. Pengu. Troll. Fartcoin. AOL. I like what AOL is doing. I think AOL is doing some cool stuff on the side. So I like getting into these. This pool is out of range, it looks like. All right, yeah. So we're going to close that position. And then we're going to boot. Yeah. Down $37. I'm going to put that string over here. It just looks like we're getting put that one over in big. All right, there we go. Can we follow that one? Follow that. All right. Boom. Yeah. There you go. We got to claim this one. Claim those fees. There we go. So we're going to take this token. We're going to go back into pools, find all the render pools. Like the opportunities now is like if there was tokens that you were missing out on that you didn't have, that you like, yeah, there is some amazing things to get in on right now. Render USDC, fuck it. All right, we'll get into this. All right. So we'll get into this bid ask on this. We'll throw a little USDC in there so that pool's salted on that side, so it's not all lost out. And then we'll confirm that. We do like how Juke mobile extension's been working. We do like this. And yeah, I am without a hat today. Thank you, comment. I'm without a hat. I got a haircut and beard trim. So yeah, so it is shorter. I told him not to go shorter, but yeah. So we're gonna turn that off. Auto rebalance always on. Fixed. One. Bid ask. Save and close. All right. So renders reset. Yeah, buy. Back in range, but that's all soul. Yeah, so we're gonna put that back into that there. Market price from Jupiter. TVL, this pool is all us basically. So let's see here. We're gonna grab this token, see if there's any other pools. All right. Well, no. So we'll cheat. We'll go over to Meteora. We'll find the pool and we'll enter it in manually. Boop. That's the pool we're in. So, all right. So we're just going to close this position. We have what, 3-7? So we're going to close this position completely. And $5 days. Yeah, down. All right. So we'll be down on that. TVL we see on that pool just dropped. There's a little bit of soul in it, but we're going to go back into it. Bid ask. All of our Yabai. And 0.5. Oh. Refresh. We'll let that one. We'll come back for that. All right. Bonk. Totally out of position. That's all right. Close it. Reopen it. Bonk's down 29%. It was a great day to buy shit yesterday. There was a 2-hour window, not even 2-hour window. Literally watched BTC drop from 108 live to like 101. We put in a short at like 105, closed at 101 or 102. Then we watched it climb all the way back up. So yeah, boop. Bonk all on one side. 3. Confirm. There we go. So, I'll delete that message, delete that message, delete that message, delete that message, delete that message. Boom. There we go. So we're waiting for that position. Confirm. Fix our auto compounding. This prices don't. All right. So yeah, so we're turning our auto compound off for now, and just auto rebalancing is on everything. So yeah, star season, like we've made a shit ton on star season. So this is all just profit pieces. We're gonna need to go in and really fix our sheet. Yeah. Boom. Star season. Position data unavailable at this time. Let's go see if we can find a different stream for it. There we go. Nope, no matching queries. Boom. There we go. All right. So no matching pools on that one. So we'll go back, find the pool that we like. That's the pool that we're in. Yeah. 2 sol in that. There we go. All right. Create a position. Bid ask. All our token. 0.03. Salt that sol side. Auto rebalance. There we go. All right. Auto compound off. Close that. Fix these pieces. Dynamic fixed. 1%. Bid ask. Proceed with selected. Save and close. All right. Star season is good now. All right. Pengu, same thing. Everything's in Pengu. Let's close that out. This is one of those things where we, we could have sold at 6 cents. Sort of wish we did sell all of our Pengu, because then we could have bought it back at penny. But oh well. So now we'll just go back, create that position, bid ask. We'll throw all our USD 2 cents in there. Normally I do the same amount, like 0.003. So that's like 50 cents, 60 cents right now. But we don't have USDC. We have USDT. I think we have a lot of USDT. We took some money off of the table yesterday. And this was one of those things where it's not as 180 right now, but I think it went low. Oh my God, that is so bright. There we go. Let's fix that. There we go. 7-day. 50 cents. Woo. 294. 9 months ago. All right. But yeah, 180. It went lower than 180. We know it went lower than 180. So it's just trying to recover. And it's not doing too well because everyone fucking went over to B&B. All them fucking degens. It's sort of hilarious. But yeah. All right. Set this up. Dynamic. Change that to fixed. 1%. Spot. Bid ask. Boom. All right. We're done with that. Troll. Same thing. Man, we had so much troll at one point. We wish we kept that. So Oh, there we go. All right. So enough of this shit. He's finally here. I wasn't kidding. I actually, So, all right. Where is it? Let's kill that. So, as a reminder, what this episode's fucking about. It's fun. Finally, he's here. We have Duca from Awaken Tax with us. Like I said, did an amazing interview with Crypto Tax Calculator at Token 2049. I saw some funny beef between Big Duca and a follower. Well, Big Duca was offering 5 free accounts. Crypto Tax Calculator came back with like the classic Wendy's. We'll double that offer. We will offer 10 free accounts. And then someone, hopped into that mix and was like, which one of you is going to pay my crypto taxes? And Big Duca came back with like the greatest reply. Crypto Tax Calculator, he's all yours. And CTC came back with like, what do they say? They're like, hey, if your losses outweigh your gains, we'll help you out. We would pay you. And this guy came back with like, I never lose. And Dugo came back with the classic, like, game recognized game. So me being me, like in the middle of any fight, I like to just say, well, on the show. And we have with us Duca today.
Hey, I am super sorry. I was so late. I really apologize. Cobby had a weird time, bit disorganized, but I'm super happy to be here.
We cannot hear you.
Oh.
So,
hello.
If you click on the gear box down below, you'll see where you'll see audio pieces.
Can you hear this? Is this
Nope.
audio? Default.
And let me make sure my sound is like everyone else might be able to hear you. Oh,
Can you hear this?
You hear this?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear
It was me that was fucked up.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now I hear it. That's interesting.
I hear a bit of an echo
for myself.
but you can hear me.
I can hear you just fine, and
Can
I'm
you
going
hear
to
me
right now?
Yeah, I'm going to solve that echo issue. I think this should help.
Okay,
Let's see.
Can you hear me better now?
I can.
I do hear myself echoing, which is weird because I have used StreamYard before, but
Yeah, it is my setup. So let's see here. I got you. All right.
does this?
Oh yeah.
It's echoing.
How's that work now?
Hello.
Hello.
Still echoes. Weird. Will help.
Earbuds.
Hello.
Testing.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Testing.
I guess I can keep talking. I literally myself talking right after this throws me off. That's my voice.
I am 100% on top of that, and I know that feeling. I'm trying to think of what I can do on my setup right now. Oh man.
Let's. Okay.
Nope. I got everything. All right. Yeah. All right. Hello.
Maybe. Yeah. This has not happened when I've done StreamYard before, which is weird. Okay, let me try that.
And we lost them. Boop.
Okay. Well, weird. Tempting. Talk.
Any
advice?
Yeah, give me just 1 second to fix something up on my end. And I need to find that cable. That cable goes in and around and down and about. And because my setup's all weird because I've been gone forever. I've been on the road. So I think now, all right, there's that. There's this microphone. Let's turn this microphone off. And we'll go audio.
Let's see. Go.
All right, how are we there now?
Okay. Maybe it is on my end, but it is weird because I don't think I've had this happen before.
Hey, it wouldn't be a TacoBytes if it wasn't a shit show in some way, shape, or form.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Talk and
I really see how it kind of goes. Kind of go from there. That was basically when I was
super sorry.
Usually I'm not level of this guy. I really apologize. Decided to chat about all things taxes.
And in the settings of audio, there is a button for auto echo cancellation.
Let's check it out. Hello.
Yep.
Hello.
Okay,
it is
checked. Does go echo.
All right. Then let's see here.
Although,
and we are going to go.
Okay. Wait, can you hear me? I can't hear you, but I do not hear echo on my end anymore. No.
Take myself off of mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you and I don't hear an echo. This is fantastic. Okay, here we are.
Here we are. It took enough plug and plays. And for those that are listening in that are on Twitter, you're gonna have to hop over to Twitter video to listen in. Unfortunately, the Twitter space is gonna be one-way audio for now. So join the video if you're wanting to hear what Duca has to say about taxes. I literally have been looking forward to this episode for so many days now that I brought a notepad.
Oh man, there we go.
Because I have questions, sir.
Love it.
So first off, who are you and why the fuck should I care?
Yeah, so I'm Andrew. I'm the founder of Awaken Tax. People call me Duca. That's my last name. My name is Andrew Duca. I started Awaken almost 2.5, 3-ish years ago because I was a really heavy DeFi user and I tried all the different crypto tax products and they all broke for me. And so it's like, okay, it seems like there's maybe an opportunity to build a better product, one that's really built for on-chain users who are at the kind of forefront of finance, trying all the new stuff. And that's really what Awaken started out as a crypto tax product, but specifically built for crypto natives.
Now, when you say things were broken for you, like, what do you mean by broken? Were they not able to process all of your wallet transactions, not able to calculate all of your wins, losses, and your profit gains in a first in, first out type of method? Or
great question. So
what was that piece on that?
So there was kind of two pieces. So the first is I was a really heavy Solana user. And so as like a Solana user, I remember plugging my wallets and I was using Coinly at the time. And I had 50% missing cost basis. So you can imagine just like red alerts, like all over my Coinly account, like, oh my God, what's happening? Like it's like error alarms going off. So it was like the data just wasn't able to be imported. And then even beyond that, I was doing so much stuff with DeFi, with yield farming on like all these different yield protocols on Solana, like Tulip and Francium, Selend, etc., using all these products. And I couldn't even figure out how to tag them. It was super manual. And so those two things were the impetus of why I started Awaken. It was like, one, how do you create a product that's for crypto taxes that has much higher data quality? So you're actually able to like not have, red warnings all over your application. You're able to ingest all the data properly. And then two, you're able to actually understand it. And so like Awaken, when you use Awaken, if you're using Meteora or Jupiter or Uniswap v3, all these different protocols, out of the box, we actually write custom software to handle these so that the taxes are taken care of. And so it was really these two pieces. The first was like high missing cost basis, especially for chains like Solana. And to be fair, like Solana is a really hard chain to do cost basis for. So it's not like the competitors aren't trying. It's really, really hard. And then the second is like automation. It was not automating all the different DeFi protocols I was using. And so those were the two reasons why the products were not working for me. And it turns out there's a lot of other people that were having kind of the similar issues. And that's why we started Awaken.
So like, was that just because like a lot of them weren't taking on the entire stack flow of like the state of the chain? So like you had to like run your own validator almost to run an entire state so you could see the history basis of someone's wallet?
Yeah, so not exactly actually, but kind of like close. In order to get cost basis for Solana specifically, it's a very different paradigm than EVM chains, right? So like EVM chains, you have a smart contract and you're interacting with that contract, and that contract you'll have events like a transfer event of like me sending USDC here, me receiving ETH here. In Solana, the reason why it's so performant is because they separate state from the actual code execution, which means you have like a ton of token accounts, one for every token that you're using. And if you don't pull in every single one of those, you're missing your cost basis. And so it really comes down to like going through and doing the hard work of like, one, detecting token accounts, two, understanding token accounts that you've used. So you may have used a token and then closed a token account, and now the token account is gone. It doesn't even exist. So being able to like find those, which does mean like going through lots of data. So pull in tons of data and we parse it to understand all these different edge cases. These are just a couple. They do happen on EVM chains too, for the record. Like Polygon, for example, when you use the main Polygon bridge, it doesn't emit a standard EVM event of a transfer. It actually is a log fee transfer. And so there's all these nuances, and for Hyperliquid, it has its own nuances, etc. And they all add up to a lot when you get them all right. And so it was mostly around like going through like every little nook and cranny to making sure that you can actually import all the data properly.
So that's one of those things too, like looking at the state record and like of a token account, like how you were talking with Solana, and Polygon is that way. I think the old FTM used to be that way as well. Even though they were on a DAG piece, they were a fork originally of Polygon, and I feel like a few other chains. I think Telos was doing it too in their V1, and Neo does it as well. But like for Solana specifically, and one of the things what I really loved is like I love hearing people's first time learning of Soul Incinerator.
100%.
And they have 200 plus accounts to close, and they're like, wait, free Soul? What the? And they forget that they, like, when they buy a token the first time, they're paying a little bit of Soul to rent that space, that storage state. Moonbeam is another one like that as well. And some weird shit in the Polkadot ecosystem as well. But so the question is, I got to ask, knowing about where we're at and where regulation is not yet, is opening an account, aka just having a zeroed out account, is that a taxable event?
Opening account to hold a token, but not having a token in that account?
Yes.
It's a good question. So we actually make that rent basically is used to help derive your cost basis. So there isn't really a taxable event if you just open an account and don't have a token. But then if you open an account and you use that account because you're buying a new token, we actually will add that little bit of rent that you paid to go to the cost basis. And then when you get it back, we kind of remove it. And so if you keep the token account open, which a lot of people do for like USDC, Wrap Sol, like those type of tokens that are more common, some of the big ones like Jito, etc. That will always be part of like your cost base of the initial tokens that you buy. But beyond that, it's not really used. So it can be used as like a fee you pay, and fees in general, the best approach is to take fees and add it to the cost base of your assets so you have less gains in the future. And that's what Awaken will do for a lot of different tokens.
Okay, nice. Now, and the other piece of this too is there's like more and more apps are wanting to make smart accounts. And so you don't, and what pisses me off is you don't actually get access to your private key, and you will be lucky if, some of them are in the gaming ecosystem. You don't actually even have, you might not have an address receivable. You might have a tag that you sent it to. So you might not even know your address in some spec. So like in the gaming world, and you're doing microtransactions, like, Clash of Clans, 99 cents all fucking day, I'm making spends. And is this a thing that like we have to look at as we're making more and more accounts? Because this is the thing that's really stupid. People want to look at more accounts when really it's maybe 200,000 people on Solana, but there's 10 million accounts because every single new app makes you make a new account and wallet.
It is interesting because you don't see that trend reversing, and I think like have you heard or like Privy, for example?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like, and so Privy, like exactly. I love Privy. I know a lot of the admin features within Privy because I've used it for a couple of apps that I built. So like right away, like you can use 2FA, auth tokens and stuff like that. You can use Google, you can use email, you can use Twitter, you can use your phone number, you can even use a wallet to sign and create a new signature wallet. And I love it when I can use a wallet to sign for something. Then there's a function to where people can export their key if they want to. And then it's an admin feature to turn off or on. This is one of the, I love Step Finance.
It was great.
The entire team is great. But with their new wallet, it's Google Auth only. So if you don't have a Gmail or a Gmail authorized account, You can't set up a wallet with them, but then you can't export your keys. And I'm like, how do you expect me to trust? It's not that I don't trust you. But like your website goes down.
Yeah. I mean,
I lose everything. So like,
Yep, 100%. And I mean, part of the magic of crypto, right, is that you don't have to trust anyone, right? You can like self-custody your assets at any time. You can be your own bank. That's like one of like the most amazing things about the technology in general. So I think having access to your secret key is like really important in that. And smart wallets are interesting because it's basically it's literally a smart contract. So there's no private key directly, but like your private key, controls that smart account, etc. But I think there's like a general trend, and I think like Privy is amazing. Like Privy has helped us onboard like a lot of new users who didn't want to go set up a wallet and do all this stuff. They were really more familiar with how to, social login. Wallets are spun up automatically for you. Like it's been amazing UX, and like I love using apps with Privy. The problem with it though is that now all of a sudden we all have all these wallets, right? Like you might be every single application you're using has like a different embedded wallet, and it adds a lot of complexity to taxes. Because in crypto, when you transfer between wallets, you're not triggering a tax event. You're just transferring your cost base to another wallet. And now all of a sudden, like we have some users who don't even remember. They might have like a trading bot, like they're using BonkBot for a bit or Photon, and they have their main Solana Phantom wallet. And then we literally, while they're going through their taxes, we actually flag like, hey, we actually think that you might have a BonkBot or might have a Photon. You might want to add it really quick. And I think we're getting into this world where, because of embedded wallets being like a pretty amazing UX that makes it so we can actually onboard new people, which is important, it leads to a lot more fragmentation. So we'll have a lot more wallets. And when you have a lot more wallets, it makes taxes more complicated, right? Because you need to be able to transfer between, like, you don't want to be triggering tax events all over the place, but you don't need to. And that is like one of the things that like Awaken works really hard to solve. Like we have some users who, not necessarily just because of embedded wallets, but some of our users have 1,000 wallets. And it's like a mixture of security. Like you might be one of these people that have 1,000 wallets.
Yeah, but just to dig into the drawer of shame for a minute, as I like to call it, we have 5 ledgers sitting here.
There you go. Wow, love it.
just on that keychain.
Yep. And I think it's like, I don't see this trend of like embedded wallets. Plus, like a lot of us want to diversify because we are our own bank, which has a level of risk too. Like people are having more and more wallets, which actually creates more and more tax complexity. And hopefully like Awaken and other products like Crypto Tax Calculator. I like to throw shade, but ultimately, like I respect like all the products in the space because like we're all trying to solve something that's actually very complicated. Like I'm a programmer, but I've written like 1 million lines of code for this product so far. And, we have all these issues that we're always trying to solve too. So I respect the competitors, even though like, obviously like I have my fun, I put my fun on X, like you've seen and you're talking about.
All right. So then 1 million lines of code. Is it open source?
It is not open source. I think at some point it would be awesome. I actually want to talk about that a little bit because it is not open source, mostly because like for a long time, the company was actually just me. Recently, we actually raised $2 million from like Luca and Mert from Helios and a lot of awesome people in crypto, the Jupiter co-founder, some of the Jupiter co-founders. And so we've recently raised money so we can actually hire more people to help out with the code. But for a while what was that?
You're going to hire me?
Maybe, but I mean, we are hiring developers specifically. And so, now that we have more developers working on the code, one thing that is like the bot, and I actually want to talk about the open source piece because right now we're closed source for a lot of reasons, mostly like security, because it was just me and like I don't want to like have the thing open that anyone can be poking at it. We actually have like penetration testing going on right now. We're SOC 2, and I think there's like to do open source right, it takes some work, right, to make sure that you're doing it right and doing it well. But there is this very interesting thing that I've been thinking about a lot more recently, where we basically as a company have to add support for every new chain that comes up. We have to add support from every protocol. And there are some protocols on Solana, like literally the Loopscale founder, I was just talking to him, and he would love to be able to write automated tax support for Loopscale. And that kind of got me thinking, like, I would love if there was some open source portion of Awaken where anyone can write automated support for any protocol, and we can kind of like aggregate what the crowd knows. So that way, when you open up Awaken, like all the stuff, all these protocols, all this awesome innovation, it should just be auto tagged for you. And we're a small team, so we can't prioritize everything. But I think there might be something very interesting with open source and kind of enabling people to help contribute to this like massive, how do we automate all of these awesome protocols? And so it is not open source, but it's something I've been thinking about a lot because like ultimately we want to make it so that taxes are not a nightmare, so that you can go and do your taxes very easily and then go back to enjoying blockchains, like this future of finance. And I think open source can play a role, but doing it right does take some effort, right?
Yeah. We're one of the pieces, like this is taxes hold a very special place in my heart. I have 4 days left to file my 2024 taxes. I was one of those weird nerds that used to read everything I could. And between the years of 2008 and 2011, till I got banned by the IRS, I used to order every single publication every year.
That is crazy.
Every form.
I love it.
And so literally I would get like about 60 pounds of paperwork,
Crazy. I love it though.
And read through everything. So like I could learn how taxes were working, what the different forms were available on the amount of like different ways of either writing off money, requesting money, even from the government.
Yeah.
And I remember when like you used to be able to buy bonds via taxes and like buy your 2-for-1 bonds, like spend $50 for $100 bond that would, mature after 5 to 10 years, depending on which one you got, or what they were offering. And then they quit offering that, which was sort of hilarious. And, but like, so I've always seen taxes as something that you have to do. And, I love going to Puerto Rico and talking to selling things to my friends there and people are like, oh, only people that are trying to not pay taxes go to Puerto Rico. I'm like, actually not pay taxes is paying taxes is why they moved to Puerto Rico. They're trying to pay as little as possible. And
that's a very interesting framing because you're exactly right? They're trying to minimize the amount of money that they have to pay.
Yeah. It's not that they're trying to not pay taxes, and they're trying to pay as little as possible. And so like what's really hilarious how like I've had to help organizations over the last couple of years, set up like nonprofits in the Marshall Islands with Adam over at MyDAO, Cayman Foundation, BVIs, setting up in Malta, okay, cool. Now I'm MICA certified. What do I got to do for fucking Europe and, the 27 countries over there, plus the 3 EEAs and stuff like that. So it's a really interesting piece. Or if I go set up a bank account in Dubai, like what's really hilarious is one of the things I used to do whenever I traveled, and I would just go open up random bank accounts in different countries.
That's very interesting. I've not heard that before.
I'm like, cool. I got $200. Let's go walk into Bank of Paris and go open up like this 400-year-old building and go open up a bank account.
It's amazing. Some of the bank buildings. I mean, there's some of like the older institutions, but beautiful buildings.
Yeah, and you're like, cool. In the States, this would have been turned into a restaurant and some motorcycles and like some neon lights and stuff like that. And here it's still like, what is that bank in Harry Potter? Green
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's so foggy for me. I haven't heard that in a while. But yeah.
So I'm like, you just feel history of like the power of like, you're like, people have died because of these walls.
Yeah.
And that literally in banks that are like, more than 400 years old, a lot of people have died. But taxes, like me personally, because there hasn't been like clear rules on taxes and stuff like that, how I've got one of the really cool things like within Coinbase has been like my number one off-ramp, on-ramp. Like that's how like, have a debit card. People are like, oh, how do you spend your crypto for years and years and years? No, it's not the giant Visa card behind me, though Cast is awesome.
Coinbase
has been how I spend my money everywhere. And so I would one of the really cool things is I would make it a taxable event if I was on-ramping. If I was sending to my MetaMask, it was a payment to self. If I was bringing back, it was a payment for services, so taxable event. And then if I was spending, payment for services. So I ended up like taxing myself like 3 out of 4 transactions. And because I'm not tracking every rug I fucking get into, or the 10,000 transactions I have a day on Solana, You know, I felt that this was the honest effort required by the IRS to meet if I were to ever get audited, permanent cause. Now, would they come back and be like, hey, actually, no, but you haven't done anything illegal. We just need you to fix this, which the IRS is good to do. They do not like it if you lie.
Yes. I
100%.
mean, it's literally best effort. Like they want you to like pay what you should be paying and like put it in effort. But when you lie, that's like that, right? 100%.
Yeah. I got to have former IRS Commissioner Chuck. I want to say, I forget his last name, but he was the last IRS commissioner. Big, tall, white guy. I interviewed him this year during BTC Vegas. And like we were supposed to have like a 5-minute interview. Turned into like a 25-minute like talk on like all sorts of things. And what was really awesome is like I was like, hey, can I get hostile now and ask you some hard questions? And like I just dug into them and stuff like that on like the IRS and like where previous chairs and current regulation or past regulations, where it's changing and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm ball, and he was totally game for that. And so awesome. It was a really fun interview. And so but he talked about how the one thing that he was proud of accomplishing was question number 1. Do you or have you done anything on blockchain in this past year? Yes or no?
To add to the form. Yeah. I mean,
yes or no?
Yeah, that alone like changed, I think, a lot of the like just people like actually making an effort of complying. Because like before that, people were like, I don't know what I need. I don't think I need to do anything, whatever. Just like asking you, do you do stuff? I mean, as soon as you check yes, and like it's very obvious if you have, because if you use Coinbase or whatever, like the IRS gets information from Coinbase, like 1099 DA is going into effect this year. That just checking yes actually is really, it's been amazing for compliance because now people are actually making an effort, which before they weren't, because they're like, they don't even know. But now it's like, oh, there's a checkbox. Yes, okay, they're gonna expect something, and like they expect you to do something that's reasonable, which sounds like you have a way that's reasonable. Like we help our users, reconcile all their wallets like with reasonable of using the end closing day price for all your different assets, like all your trades between Solana and all your meme coins, all that stuff, and then giving you a good report. Like by even making a report and like putting in an effort to like figure out what you owe and filing that, like that's really great. And like that checkbox actually changed the game, so that was a very big contribution.
And well, not only that, but this was where he really dive down in on the IRS doesn't care if you don't pay your taxes. They do, but it's not a legal crime. It's not a felony. It's not a criminal charge not paying your taxes or not paying what you owe. But lying to the IRS is. And he's like, this is the game that people aren't really aware of. The IRS can go back 3 years. So do you think today, if you say no, do you think the IRS is going to be able to figure that out over the next 3 years? That it's a yes.
100%.
And that's the hard question. So it's not like, it's one of those things to where it's really interesting to sort of see how that's moved the ball, and now we have 1099 DA. No profit loss is calculated. You have to do it yourself. We just give the numbers next year. So when you're reporting your 2025 taxes, that's going to be written into the calculations are going to be added in for you. And Coinbase, for Coinbase One users, it's going to be one of those things that where they have it, available. But it's one of those things that like yield aggregators that are doing auto compounding. Do you have to track all of those transactions, or is it just in out?
Yeah, and it's hard because like they haven't said anything. And also like tracking them is very difficult too. Like even if you wanted to, it's super difficult, right? So it's tricky.
Yeah, I quit. I still play in the trenches, but like what I have found, like my bread and butter, I just do the yield play. I provide liquidity.
Nice.
I go in and I know what and I don't look at one soul. I look at it, one soul equals one soul. So I go in with one soul what do I pull out? Do I pull out more than one SOL or not? And like HawkFi is another one that I love, and that's what I was like jamming away on before you hop.
Yeah.
And so, there's sometimes I'll get into a position and it will reposition me. Like if I put in enough, it's repositioning me and there's enough volume every minute,
Yep.
So do you think that will be every time? Every transaction will be a taxable event, or
so for those, it's interesting because like when you deposit into a lot of these protocols, a lot of the stuff that they do from there is kind of like it's not in your wallet, right? It's like in their smart contracts, in their programs, and it's doing all of this stuff to like auto compound, to rebalance, doing all those things, and then it's only like, and this is what Awaken does. This is what every crypto tax product does, because like as soon as you get into that, it's like a mess, right? It's like so complicated. It's like, how do you even possibly understand? So what tax products do is like you sign the transaction, you put your stuff in there, and then when you sign it to get your money out, we calculate a diff on those two things. So very similar to you, in and out, because all that stuff that's happening in there, at the end of the day, the IRS wants you to just not lie to them, right? So if you put a SOL in and you get SOL out, 10 SOL out, they want you to declare 9 SOL. Like you just made 9 SOL, you did make 9 SOL, but all of like the details of what's happening there, first of all, it's like impossible to properly understand at the software level, because a lot of that stuff, it's just like, it's like the code is executing, but it's not actually leaving any like state changes on the blockchain necessarily.
Yeah,
it's like very complicated. And so generally tax softwares, it's like in and out. And like you want to report how much money you made. At the end of the day, the IRS wants to know how much did you make and making sure you're paying the right amount of tax, and all of that type of stuff isn't as important and isn't really even possible today to even understand. And tax softwares don't actually understand it. We just try to understand like what protocols are you using? Where is money going? Where is it coming back? When it's coming back, do we think that that's like capital gain? Do we think how much of that do we think is income? And we try to break down and understand what's happening on the in and out flows, like you were saying, because all that stuff in there gets very complicated.
Yeah, because like the question is like, let's say I pull 10 SOL out, but let's say it ran up to like 300 SOL, and then it marks me down as down 75%, but I'm pulling out 10 SOL. Should I be keeping track of all of those P&Ls of it being down 75%, and that's a profit loss for me of down 75%?
I mean, in my opinion, no. I don't think anyone's able to really even do that, right? Like the level of just like your time it would take to understand that is just too much. And at the end of the day, right, the IRS just wants you to not lie and show and prove how much money you made and how much it was, right? And so even in that case, like if you had 1 SOL, ran up to 300 and you pulled out 10, you made 9 SOL. It's really like as simple as that, right? All that other stuff doesn't even matter. As long as it's happening in the same tax year, it's like really obvious because you went from 1 to 300, it's plus 299. Then you went from 299 to 10, that's minus 289 or so. So it all ends up being kind of that same
plus 9.
Yeah, exactly. So it's plus 9. At the end of the day, like all that math, right? You just cancel everything in the middle, plus 9. That's what it is, 1 to 10.
Yeah. And then if you're really wanting to look at it, how much did that SOL cost when you put it in there versus how much when it came back into your wallet? Is it when it comes back into your wallet or December 31st, 11:59 p.m.?
Yep, exactly. And what you're supposed to do as a like tax product and any of those, like any good tax product you use will do this for you, is you are supposed to look at the fiat amount, because ultimately the IRS doesn't think in SOL, it thinks in fiat. And so if you have 1 SOL at $100 and you pull out 10 SOL and it's not worth $100, like let's say it's worth like 90, so that's $900. So you went from 1 to 10, but you actually only made between 100 and that 900, so you made $800. And so ultimately everything does flow back into fiat, because that's what the IRS understands. And different countries, they have different currencies, euro, etc. And it always flows back into like what's the actual currency, not even the SOL amount, but the SOL amount and the price of SOL at that time is how you compute the in and out. But it's all in fiat in order to figure out the tax liability.
And that's how I see like a lot of the IRS regulation pieces. This is something I have on the board. I've been working on my own like IRS agent. I guess you could say, just because like that's one of those things. I'm like, it's very clean cut rules. IRS, are there 10,000 of them? Yes. What's the best thing to navigate all of those? An agent, and so that's been one of the fun things building on the side. But the question is then, like we see, like what used to happen is like a lot of people tax harvesting, buying worthless NFTs, or selling their NFTs that have gone to zero and then buying them right back for, washing and stuff like that. That is still, to my understanding, that hasn't been written out. It's gray area.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even. It's like it is allowed. Like you're allowed to wash sale in crypto, which is very interesting. And I think there's been like some recent hearings around stuff. And I mean, the wash sale rule in crypto, or the fact that it does not apply, is very helpful to crypto investors, right? Because it means you can like exit your position, claim the loss, and buy it back. And the only downside to that is like if it's an asset that you want to hold for a long time, you're resetting the capital gains clock when you buy it back, right?
Yes.
That's the main downside. But like besides that, there's really no repercussion of selling, claiming the loss, and buying it back, which is like kind of awesome. It's a little bit of a loophole, right? Some people call it a loophole, but it is allowed in crypto.
Okay, so is this something that gets automatically like tracked? Like, hey, you exited your position of troll and you sold 400,000 troll, you dumb fuck, at $10, and then you bought back 500 troll at $50.
Yep, like Awaken will automatically track that for you. It's so the one caveat is like, I mean, Awaken's a global product, so we support lots of countries, and then like in other countries like Canada, you can't actually wash sale, and in the UK, you can't wash sale. So like Awaken will flag wash sales in those cases, and then apply their rules of their country in order to make sure that you're not writing off stuff that you were literally buying back. But in the US, you can just do that, and then Awaken and other competitors too will do this too. I'm not going to only say Awaken's the only one. We do automatically track that stuff for you, so that way you claim the loss is booked, and then you buy it back, and then we reset your tax lot, so you have the capital gains starting to vest if it is something that you want to hold long term, etc. But like tax offers will handle that all for you, and then you just get that nice negative number offsetting your gains in your tax report.
All right, now I'm gonna really fucking bury myself, and I literally was just talking about this, so it's on this show, it's recorded, it's on the blockchain, so I have to. One of the things I use a lot for safety is a VPN.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time, my computer thinks I'm either in Denmark or Norway. I claim airdrops. For some reason, I'm not allowed to claim them. If I'm not being private and secure, and I don't have my VPN on, I can't claim them. But as soon as I turn my VPN on, for some reason, I am able to claim them. Am I owing taxes in a different country?
You are not owing tax in a different country. Automatically, it is the US. The geo-blocking is interesting because the geo-blocking, you might not be allowed to use some of these products, but like in every case,
you can use a product in the US, but you can't claim the airdrop. That's the thing that pisses me off about.
Oh, you're talking about the airdrop specifically. Yeah. I mean, like ultimately, like if you make money, like regardless of how you make it, like you are supposed to declare it. So you're supposed to declare that just in the US. So you don't have to declare that. You're not a taxpayer in other countries, regardless of where they are, your VPN, wherever that is, that doesn't matter. It matters what country like you are a taxpayer in, and so ultimately it's just US.
What happens if you're physically in a different country when you claim that airdrop?
If you're like a citizen and a US taxpayer, like you have to pay US tax, so it doesn't even matter. Like it doesn't matter where you physically are at any of those points.
All right. So what you're saying is someone should set themselves up as an entity and do all their business as their entity.
And if entity is somewhere else, and you're allowed to do that, talking to a CPA about this stuff is generally recommended because there can be
100%.
Yeah,
a CPA and an attorney.
100%. You definitely want to talk to both, and it does mean that you probably don't want to do that if it's like a small airdrop or you're not doing that much stuff in crypto because that stuff can get really expensive. I mean, we have attorneys and they're really expensive, right? So.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you set it up depending on like that entity that's claiming it is like an entity that is not US based, some other country, etc., then the dynamics change. Ultimately, though, it's kind of interesting though because if that entity flows money back to you, then you're a US taxpayer, and then you got a distribution, and then there's other taxes there too. So like the IRS just wants their money at the end of the day. Like if you're making money, they want money.
Wait, not everyone's not set up as an S corp yet.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our they're not set up as S corp, right? Can you imagine how many S corp would be in the US if we're all set up like that?
That would be well. What is it? There's more S corps registered. There's more what?
I believe it
in Jackson Hole.
Yep, 100%.
Then there is residents in like the whole Western Coast.
Yeah, I believe
it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like C corp with Delaware.
Yep.
100%.
I mean, we're a C corp in Delaware. All tech companies were always C corps in Delaware. And then if you're doing stuff where you want it to flow back through you, you're S corp in Jackson Hole 100%.
Okay, and we're seeing we're seeing new structures of like co-ops and stuff like that through like Colorado, through Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like
It's interesting. Yeah.
these are different. This is I harass a friend, Zach Guzman. He runs a coinage, decentralized media company and stuff like that. And I harass him. I'm like, I'm not allowed to I can't get derivatives and payments from his company, even though I'm an owner of it, because I don't KYC.
Interesting. I guess, yeah, that makes, because you have to give it like a dividend. Yeah, you got a KYC. They have to like report that to the IRS. They send a form to the IRS saying like they sent the money to you, right?
Yeah.
And you declare that 100%.
And I'm like, what? No, like use my wallet address, and it's on me to file taxes. You can just say I sent funds to this wallet address, And I'm like, that's one of the really hilarious pieces I think on it. That like one of the talks I give, actually haven't given it this year, but being a degen in a doxed world, it's a really interesting aspect. So we sort of see how different things, especially as we're trying to move more towards institutional on chain. And like yesterday was an amazing example. Like everyone's been asking for institutional get on chain and high frequency traders, and then they cry when they do come on board.
Yep.
And because like what's really interesting in institutions, they have so many rules around HFTs, high frequency trading.
100%.
I saw a company that a friend works for in China. They got like how regulated China has on its high frequency traders. They had hardware that they had gotten from America that gave them a 0.000301 microseconds faster transactions, and they got fined $180 million. So like China tries to keep it a fair game for all legal institutions and stuff like that, which is hilarious.
Yep.
And now they come on chain and people cry because they're like on chain is very interesting. People are trying to leverage debt on a system that doesn't allow debt to happen, which is really hilarious.
Yeah, it's really interesting because all the institution stuff. It's interesting because we all say we want institutions and all these people to come on cheap, but really what we want is our bags to go up, right? Like that's actually what it comes down to, and we just think all that capital coming in will be the thing to help us with that, but not even necessarily, right? It kind of just if that's what actually leads to our bags going up.
Yeah. And then when institutions come on and they realize, wait, this centralized exchange, and it's all daisy chain. So if we pull out this block down here, we can short and make $1 billion in a day. Let's do it.
Yeah,
it's legal. Okay.
Yeah, everything goes.
Wow, that's crazy. You mean there's no Frank Dodd rules that stop the market?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I am interested to see how all the markets kind of develop, because like we do need some more rules for some of this stuff for sure. Rules are not a bad thing actually for investor protections. I do think like one rule that I personally really think is ridiculous. So is like the accredited investor rule, like those type of rules that basically just like prevent retail from getting into the opportunities that have massive upside. We're basically only able to get into opportunities once like all the upside is gone. And to be fair, there is a lot of risk early on, but there's like things that you can do around like investor education, just like helping understand that instead of making it so if you're not a millionaire, you can't invest in that stuff. Like those rules I think are antiquated and ridiculous, but there are rules that are just generally helpful too. So we need rules. We need some of the old rules to have like different workarounds. So it's not just the rich get, richer really. We need some stuff there too. And I'm kind of
I like the accredited investor, like if I remember right, they moved it to it's like it used to be like 250K. I think now it's like 150. Is it still 250?
I'd have to check. I think it's still 250, but they could have reduced it. I doubt they've reduced it. I think it's 250 or like $1 million liquid. It's kind of like
it was. I thought it was like 250 liquid, or they moved it to like 150 liquid, but like 500K worth of assets.
They might. If it did, it was recent. So I actually don't know the exact.
Because it was looking at like what the idea is that people could have more debt, basically.
Interesting.
And like the institutional system that we're trying to get away from is all about debt and taking on more and more debt. Like we were seeing new debt, like this new debt structure from Galaxy pushing. You know, there's 6.3 billion piece. You know, 3.2 billion of it is debt being taken on. You know, or being issued, and like everyone, it's like everyone wants to collect debt because like I owe $1. Well, someone's going to buy that debt from someone else for 60 cents. And then someone else is going to buy that debt for 70 cents. The closer it gets to being redeemed, then 80 cents on that dollar. And so everyone's going to make their money in some way, shape, or form, you know. And then, you know, when it finally gets to like, you know, 95 cents, you know, and it's a week out, you know, default, you know, but only the last person holding the bag loses. You know? But everything else for the last couple of years have been good. And so it's an interesting see. So even in like protocols then like Aave or like the borrow lend protocol system, like, cause that's a loop. I don't want to say loophole. That is a tax structure that is built into our economy right now of how like Elon Musk and Bezos and everyone else sort of lived. Like they're like, wait, why is he in such a low tax bracket, but he's like worth, you know, $500 billion? And it's because they're just living off of debt.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really common, and like it's kind of interesting because I don't think a lot of people knew about this before like crypto made it more popular, so like we all can kind of do it. Where like a lot of wealthy people, a lot of founders in particular that have stock that's worth a lot of money, they don't want to sell that stock because they're triggering a massive tax event, right? When they sell that stock. And so what they do is they actually like lend that stock and they take out debt against it. And at that point, you're not triggering a tax sale on your actual asset. You just have debt against it. And eventually you have to pay back that debt. Or if your asset goes up, you can kind of like liquidate a little bit. There's tax, etc. But it's this like, I don't know if it's like a loophole or just like a benefit of like kind of the way that the system's set up and that we're allowed to do this.
Benefit.
Yeah, benefit. Yeah. And it's like in crypto, Morpho, right? And like Aave, all these protocols made it like even more accessible. Like people, you know, if you have $100,000 of Bitcoin, lock that up, take out a $50,000 loan, all of a sudden you don't have a tax event. But now you have this debt that you owe, but you're able to use that money off. And as long as Bitcoin doesn't tank a bunch, like you're fine to kind of live off in this world having this debt. And it's very common for founders, people with equity to do that. And it's very common in crypto. And in crypto, maybe like even more common because like we're all kind of doing, even with smaller portfolios, whereas like people doing it in the traditional finance markets, usually they have much larger portfolios. They're founders, it's Bezos, it's Musk, all the people. Whereas like for us, like we can all kind of do it in crypto because there are these protocols that we all can use, which is interesting. And then we're basically we all just have this debt, but we don't have the tax event. So it is an interesting benefit, loophole, whatever you want to call it.
Well, and you have this debt, and if you're filing taxes your own correctly or per the way taxes want, debt is a taxable taxable event that counteracts what you might have made in profit.
Potentially, like when so debt is interesting because like technically all the interest you pay in debt, you have to like pay back, and that is deductible, and you have to pay back the actual entire loan. But like if you have, let's say you bought Bitcoin and you paid $1,000 and now it's worth $100,000. If you sold that, you triggered $99,000 gain. And so taking out the debt, at least, like it is something you have to record and do properly, but you didn't trigger that $99,000 gain unless you're liquidated. And you do have to pay it back, but there's like benefits because you can write off interest and all those things, right? And so it is like generally more beneficial to do this type of route versus selling it directly.
Yeah. And so one of the things, and that, let me see, I'm trying to see if there's any questions real quick. The side piece of this then is, you know, is everyone just going to be at a loss? You know, or because like, you know, like
we're at gains, you know,
you know, we obviously want everyone to be in gains, but like with like market events like yesterday, you know, is because they haven't gone back into fiat, is that a taxable event? Are they able to take a mark in time of history? And this is how hilarious and short-sighted everyone is. The prices we're seeing everything at right now were the prices things were at 11 days ago.
Yeah, you know? We're still up. Yeah, I mean, like if we look at like zoom out a little bit, it's like things are good, guys. It's okay. Like, and also there's that whole saying, you know, be greedy when others are fearful. Like this always happens. Like, and it feels like the world is ending. Like yesterday, like when the crypto market's down $400 billion, we're all like losing all this money. It feels like it's ending, but this is how markets are. Right?
I was shorting
Oh, so you did well yesterday with the shorts.
I did a 500x short.
Nice.
It was I closed that out. Like I looked at that candle wick, and like the way it timed it on the close, it literally closed it at the bottom of the wick, and like it just caught it. And I had been trying to put in the short from like 108, and it didn't go in until like 105. You know, that's how quickly it slid and
it was just crazy.
Like, you know, and I was on the phone with my venture arm side, and we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I saw it at 118, and I feel like I missed it, you know. And then he's like, oh, and then I'm like, but now it's at like 112, and like I open up a chart, and I'm like, well, shit, now it's at 108. Wait, it's still fucking slack. I'm like, I'll try to get in that, you know. And then, you know, try to catch the upside. All right, cool. That was a new bottom. You know, support like our bots couldn't keep up fast enough, you know. But
it was crazy.
Everything worked, you know. Everything worked the way it was
silver lining, right? Silver lining. Everything worked. Like it worked as it was supposed to. Like, and also like this is just like natural. This will happen. This is not the first time this has happened. It's not the last time. You know, this type of thing has happened. It's bound. This is how financial markets work. They have these like crazy, you know, fearful moments where everything's getting liquidated, like something. I mean, who knows kind of the root cause? I heard a couple things, like we don't really know, but like this is going to happen again. It's just kind of how these markets work, right?
What's the best story you've heard so far that's made you smile? And what's the best story that you've heard so far about yesterday that made you cry a little bit inside?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did see some stuff on the timeline, which I don't know if it was real, but like anyone who's like debating like suicide because of losing money, like I think that like obviously like drops, like I feel horrible. Like I really hope that the stuff I saw on the timeline was like not real. Sometimes it's hard to tell on X because people say things for engagement, but I don't want to assume that because if they were actually having, you know, a really hard time, people lost a lot of money. Like I think that is just like, you know, really sad and horrible. So I would say like some of the stuff on the timeline, I was kind of talking about suicide, definitely the sad parts. The good parts, I mean, there were definitely some funny memes yesterday. I don't even remember what the specific ones are, but I was like laughing. I was scrolling Twitter, just like laughing my ass off at some of this stuff.
So the best one for me, I think, was CZ was hunting Wintermute.
There you go. Yeah, I think I saw something like that. It's hilarious.
You know, and I'm like, everyone forget, like, so I'm like, my first company we launched on BSC, you know. Nice. I haven't touched Hyperliquid at all. Like I think I got airdropped a couple tokens on there, and like it shows up on my DBank, but I don't bridge there at all. I don't believe in chains where like 2 signatures can change the price of a token. Fair. You know, and it's one of those things to where like on chain perps, like yeah, you're just signaling to everyone what your price is. You know,
it is difficult. Yeah.
You know, and so I got that, like, but then like at the same time, that was one of the, and that's sort of why I've started to like remove myself from Sui. I still love Sui. I think Sui is the community and the devs are amazing, but when they touched someone else's wallet, you know, I was like, that's like the ultimate, like scary, like go fork the fucking chain. That's what we did in Ethereum. You know, and when we forked Ethereum, and we null and voided that person's wallet, we didn't touch their wallet. We could have, but we didn't. You know, but like the Black Swan event of yesterday, I don't even call it a Black Swan event. Like it's just like I know technically that's what it was because like you're supposed to call it that because it was a cascading event of like linchpins. But it goes to show that debt is not good. Debt is broken.
Too much debt in a system, it could cascade like crazy, right? As soon as like it can cascade. Like basically, it makes things that are going bad go way worse, right?
And everything's cross-margin. If you know protocols are cross-margined and stuff like that, like they're putting up other assets at risk, which then brings everything down. Like I missed out on so many opportunities yesterday. Like Atom dropped down to like 91 cents. Link dropped down to like $11. You know, like some of these tokens, you know, you're like, oh my God, I could have freaking, you know, they're going to go back up, you know?
Like, nothing changed about the underlying assets, right? Nothing changed there. It was just this market event where it's this like triggering thing too. That's why it gets so much worse. It's because when you have like too much debt in the system, and I think all financial systems like generally have a lot of debt. I think in crypto, we like literally a lot of the DeFi in general is about debt. Like all these protocols that we make is about debt, right? And so it kind of just like creates even more, and then it creates these like crazy cascades. It happens in traditional finance too. So I'm not going to say like it only happens here, but it basically makes bad things worse. Because all of a sudden like prices start going down, you get liquidated, that asset then gets sold, the prices go down more, too much sell, right? It just is like crazy, and it's black swan to your point, but like I've lived through multiple of these type of things, right? I'm sure like you have too, like Terra Luna, like that was crazy what was happening back then, right? So it's like, I think for a lot of people in crypto, it's kind of like par for the course. Like
I didn't report that I was still reporting my Coinbase on off stuff, but that was a 6-figure event.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I had money in some, in basically Anchor, and it went down to nothing. I lost a lot of money there. It was painful at the time. And even back then it was horrible because it's kind of similar to yesterday, where it was like people are on the timeline committing suicide. There were some memes that were kind of funny. I mean, like, the whole steady lads deploying more capital, like Do Qua, like that was some hilarious content on X. But, we've a lot of us who have been here a while, we've like seen this stuff happen before. And so we just kind of just push through, right?
Well, and look, like I know people, like I was around, and I've like people that like when Bitcoin dropped from $30 to $2, like $1.50, like that was like the closest to the writing on the wall of it being over.
Yeah,
down 99.9%.
100%. Man, back to that time, right? And it's like, man, buying Bitcoin at that, man.
And so it's one of those things where, it's a hard thing to take in, but like, touching on the mental health side of things. Yeah. Like that was the thing that brought about a lot of changes on Robinhood. That one kid's story, because he didn't understand perps.
Yeah.
And
the dangerous financial instruments in the hand of someone who doesn't understand them. They can literally ruin your life. Like that story about Robinhood, I remember reading that. I was like, oh man, this is so sad.
And not to bring life to the story, but what was like the worst part on that was he thought he was down.
Yeah.
And then when the positions closed, he was in like up like 76 grand.
Yep. He didn't understand, right?
He didn't understand it. And that was like so like I work with a lot of different platforms that have really good paper trading platforms, because I think like
great.
And not only that, but when they're paper trading looks exactly like what their platform looks like. Their real life. So so it doesn't look like a cartoon in one and real life in the other. And you're like, oh, I got this. I made them up in paper trading. Well, that's because the price always goes up in that cartoon world, paper trading.
Yeah, in the real world. But without I think like, paper. That's how I got started learning how to trade too. And it's like really important, right? You can kind of like experience some of those pains without having like insane financial pain, because you're kind of like learning how stuff works. You're like that's really important. And I am a little bit worried, to be honest, because I love Phantom. Like we were a tax partner to Phantom Wallet this year, and they're great. And I know that perps are not rolled out in the US, but like when I see them putting perps super front and center, and I think they have some education around it. I think like all that stuff is like really important to make sure the education is good, because like you can really ruin some people's lives. And the Phantom team is very cognizant of this and making sure that they're adding products that people want, but also making sure that people don't ruin themselves for it and building out stuff there. But sometimes it gets me worried how like we're going down this world of like more leverage and kind of some of the stuff that can really hurt people if they overdo it. And it's very easy to overdo it because we're all trying to like, make a bunch of money here. And it does worry me sometimes, right?
Yeah. And then what, one guy just fat fingers something, like he F's up and somehow makes a miracle trade, and 5 people hear about it. They're like, didn't you hear about that guy that just bought Shitcoin X and made like, $1 million
and everyone
in 12 minutes?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but he doesn't know what he was doing. Like,
yeah. And for everyone,
but now he's an accredited investor. Which is like, and that's the thing that I find really hilarious, because like, as we were talking about that stuff, like I see people do more research trying to place $50, trying to place $100 like, what's the white paper? Who's the team? You know, what do their socials look like? What is you know, market sentiment? You know, what other projects have they been part of? You know, and like going back like 3 years on that shit. Like, and then it's like, who follows the account? You know, and then there's like people like me, like fart.
Exactly.
You know.
Like,
Like,
hot air always rises, man.
oh,
That's
dude.
good thesis. Come on.
Hey,
Don't call yourself short.
I was literally sitting on the toilet like 30 minutes after Ron launched Unicorn Fart Dust.
Oh,
and it
man.
came across my feed, and I was like, Unicorn Fart Dust, you know, let's,
Yeah.
you know. So it's like, I you know, I don't want to like short play. Even like I have some players that are like, they've been doing this for the last, you know, like one of my friends, he's been doing this. He got heavily involved like a year after me, and me, I was just, you know, running a sports book. Cool, I can mine this thing in my computer lab, and people will take that instead of cash. Cool, paper wallet that bitch, you know. And then instead, you know, they're like, oh yeah, no, I was you know, I leveraged my house, you know, I had machines all over my house. I thought I was behind, that I, you know, wasn't going to make it because I was only mining like 600 Bitcoin a day, you know, and, you know, I thought I was lost, you know. But then like people are like, oh yeah, no, like we were setting up like trading, you know, poker games and stuff like that, and just having a blast with it. So it was, it's been an interesting route to see how it's grown, you know.
Yep.
And with like, so like the question is like, have you started to index like wallets that, you know, because all state wallets are out there, and like just like make tax profiles for them, type of thing?
We haven't, but I think at some point, I mean, like more and more people have been using Awaken just like even manage their portfolios. Like we actually have really good, like if you want to see your Solana, your EVM, Hyperliquid, all that stuff in one place, we have a, you know, good it's free. You can just like plug all your wallets in and see your stuff across all your, you know, all of your wallets across all your chains. So more and more people are using that, and we calculate the P&L. And so I think at some point it'd be awesome if like you could literally put in any wallet and kind of see like what's the P&L on this from like a company that basically spends 100% of their time figuring out how to calculate accurate P&L, which is really hard, super hard to do. And so I think at some point it'd be cool for us to do that stuff. I mean, like ultimately, our users, like we really value like privacy for our users. And so we would never make like your profile of your stuff public, but it would be kind of big, be cool to be able to put in any wallet and be able to see some metrics on it. Because a lot of these metrics you actually can't really get because you have to actually like calculate it, and it's very difficult to do it properly, right? Especially because you're transferring between wallets, etc. So I think at some point that would be really cool, but we would never make any of our users' information public. Like we believe in like keeping that private. Like ultimately, users trust us with like at this point, people have added over 600,000 wallets to Awaken, and we help them track. And so like it's important that we obviously maintain their privacy. We would never make a tax profile on an individual, but I think there's probably some cool like public tools that we could build at some point that would be interesting for people.
Almost like, well, like, so like one of the platforms that I love and I work real heavy off of is Dbank.
Dbank is awesome. We use Dbank really heavily for data, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm one of those. I like, you know, I live in an anonymous world, but I love to like recognize like what's in my wallet. So I submit a lot of action items into Dbank for voting on proposals and getting tokens recognized and stuff like that. So. But you're saying that your platform, I can put in my EVM wallet, I can put in my SVM wallet, and you track it all for me in one place.
Yeah, and you could put like, I mean, we have some users with like hundreds of wallets, and Dbank does a fantastic job, by the way. Like I love Dbank. They're like an awesome product. They've done like such a good job keeping up on chains and stuff too. We actually heavily leverage them. So like if you, the main problem with Dbank is if you have like Solana or you have like a couple EVM wallets, you have to like toggle between them, etc. Like Awaken will just show you it all together. You can see your EVM, etc. So I mean, that's literally free inside of Awaken. We have thousands of people using this to kind of just check their portfolio even throughout the year. And we're going to make that product a lot better. Because like ultimately, like what we want to help you do is like understand your crypto across all your wallets and then help you minimize taxes. We have a lot of features coming, even that we already have like tax write-offs and then, you know, suggestions around like how do you wash sale to minimize minimize your taxes? How do you which assets do you have that are underwater that you should be able to sell? Just like claim those losses. And in the future, hopefully more and more stuff.
You could do so on the SVM side of things. You could do a batch transaction, like where it sets up a wallet, it sells everything to a wallet, and then buys it back, and you're just paying the gas fee.
Exactly. And make it super easy. Because like what you don't want to do is like go through every single one, sell it, buy it back, sell it, buy it back, sell it. It's really annoying. And so I think there's like some really interesting things we can do to make that super easy. Like these things should be like one click, boom, you just unlock $1,000 of tax write-offs. Awesome, right?
And like, oh, okay. We just wrote like so we could do. You could do that with a standalone RPC, like with like Triton, you know.
The Triton's great. We use Helios for RPC usually, but we use Triton.
Yeah, Mert.
Yep, Mert's awesome. God, Triton's good too, though. Like love for everyone.
I prefer Triton just because better ping rate on my RPC for trading on high frequency trading. So the number one issue I have with your site so far. You only allow me to sign up with Google or with Apple. You don't allow me to sign up with a wallet.
Yep, we've gotten that a few times, and I think we got to address that. So definitely some stuff coming there. 100% though. Like we've heard that a few times. Curious which wallet, like MetaMask, Phantom, Rabby.
MetaMask, obviously Jupiter extension wallet.
Yeah, Jupiter extension wallet's great.
So but like Phantom, and then like obviously. You can add in the whole Wallet Connect list of Rabby, OKX, Binance Wallet. For all of you old people, Coin98 wallet,
throwback, yeah.
But like at least like because like I don't my desktop extension bar. For those that are on Pump Fund, they get to see it right now. My extension list is MetaMask, Soulflare, Phantom, Juke Wallet, Magic Eden.
You're loaded.
What is that wallet? Oh, that's Ecto. That's Phantasma. What is that? That's Compass for Psi or Say. Leap Wallet for my chain and Cosmos. Tron. I don't know. That's what wallet is that? I don't know what wallet that is. Kepler. Slush Wallet, Venom, and then like Wander for Arweave. Ooh, Radix.
Man, you got every wallet. Wow.
Oh yeah,
Maybe the most
Petra,
wallets as possible.
Petra Wallet, for yeah. We gotta show a little love to our Aptos people, Yeah. But at least like for the chains you support. Have wallets for them,
Definitely,
so
100%. That's coming for sure.
And then obviously, well, at least sign in, and then. So what about Bitcoin holdings? You guys track that stuff too?
Yep, Bitcoin. We track ordinals, runes, all that stuff. Ordinals and runes is really complicated. We literally spend like tens of thousands of dollars a year on data sources for those, and even then, we're pretty good, but not perfect. But we do track Bitcoin holdings. Like you could have an XPub if you just have like a regular. The different flavors of Bitcoin addresses. We support all of that too.
So what about like, you don't follow it as one sat as one sat?
What do you mean by that?
So like ordinals, it's a sat. It's a color coded sat. That's it. At the end of the day, if I want to sell that sat, it's one Satoshi.
Yeah, I mean it is technically, but like in terms of ordinals, right? It's really no different than like NFT trading on OpenSea in terms of taxes. So like when you're spending, however much Bitcoin to buy that thing, like you're paying, that's your cost basis. When you sell it, you're getting Bitcoin back. That's your sale price. So it's very similar to just like your normal NFT trade tax events. Even though technically, you're just like encoding, you're just inscribing it, and it's one sat, but technically, like tax wise, it's treated kind of just like a trade.
Would it be looked then at like so? And this is where you can like. Look at like ordinals, like compare them to, I forget the right term, but like gold coins, or different minted pennies, Buffalo pennies. Like, yeah, it might be worth 1 penny, but because it's, a half minted penny in 1926, it's now worth $50. So it's 5,000x. Is that the same way that you're looking at and classifying ordinals?
Exactly. And we work with CPAs, and that's generally the interpretation that they follow. So that's kind of, we just kind of go with what the SCPAs follow, but it's very similar to what you just said. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So what are some of the things that people if they're wanting to get into Awaken, what do they need to come to the table with if they're really wanting to at least start prepping for taxes? Is it just have their wallet addresses? Is it coming in with a ZK pass to their Coinbase One account?
Coming with your wallet address is your exchanges. Generally, we recommend you just link everything up, let Awaken work its magic. And then I will say that the important thing with taxes and crypto taxes is it's very complex, right? We're literally trying to index lots of chains, lots of protocols, all these things. And so I think it's important to keep an open mind that we're here to help you though. So if you have questions, write to us. We will help you look into your issues, resolve things. I literally interact with, I answer hundreds of customer DMs a day, even as a founder. When we were really early and we had a few hundred users, I was doing that. Now we have 30,000 users and I still do it and I love it. And so if you have questions as you're going through Awaken, you can feel free to ping me or someone on the team. We have a support site. Or on our site, we have a support tab. But really come to the table with your wallets and exchanges, add them up, start to get a sense of Awaken and how stuff is imported, what trades look like, all of those things. We will also recommend wallets that might be yours because we all have a lot of wallets. Sometimes we forget wallets that we have. So that will be in there too. So even if you just add a few wallets, we might find a few more for you and be hey, these ones look like they're yours. You might want to add them, but generally it's best to get a head start on this stuff. So plug all of your stuff in, because if you wait till the last day, a lot of people do, we're importing so many wallets, right? It gets slower because there's just so much data that's coming in. And so it's generally best to get a head start on it. That way you have all of your data in there, you get a sense, you can contact us with questions. And as long as you have more of a lead time, we can make sure to look into all those things and help you out. So I think it's important to do that stuff ahead of time. And then also definitely before we get into 2026, because there's going to be a lot of tax loss write-offs that you can probably, almost all of us can unlock inside of Awaken. And we're going to be working on some awesome features there too. So I would say first step, make an account, plug everything in, get familiar, and then chat with us. If you want to reach out, say hi to me, we'll be happy to say hi back and help you out. So
nice. And so do you help with the entire process, or are you just helping with the 1099 DA form?
Yeah. So we help you get the not the 1099 DA. So the 1099 DA, it's going to be very interesting what happens, because even Coinbase, when you transfer from a wallet, right, they have incomplete data and they're reporting that 1099 DA to the IRS. And so it's really important that if that data, literally you got 10,000 USDC from Ethereum to Coinbase, sometimes they'll literally say that's income because they don't know what it's from. Right. Yeah. And so they're reporting it to the IRS. And so it's really important to use a tax product like Awaken. There are competitors, I won't name them, but we all know them. They're much bigger than us.
Crypto Tax Calculator.
He's a tax calculator. I know Nick from Crypto Tax Calculator. He's a great guy. I love Nick.
Nick is really freaking cool. I like him.
Yeah. Nick is awesome. We're competitors, but good guy. I also respect Gabe, recognize Gabe, like you were saying right before this. I respect them and they're great. But it's going to be really important now that 1099 DAs are going in, that you report and you use a tax software like Awaken or Crypto Tax Calculator, et cetera, to calculate that report that can actually give the holistic report across all your wallets. And so in Awaken, plug in your wallets, you get all this stuff. And then we at the end of the process, we give you a 1099B equivalent form. You can get an 8949, Schedule 1, Schedule D, all of those forms from Awaken or different crypto tax products, and then you can use those to file. And so that is what you'll actually use to file, and it's more and more important to actually use those forms to file now that 1099 DA is going through. But 1099 DA specifically, by the way, it's something that the exchanges are reporting to the IRS on your behalf, and then they send you a copy, and then it's kind of your job to actually send your correct stuff to them, which can be an 8949 that you generate in Awaken, stuff like that.
And for those that don't know, within Coinbase, you can go into document settings. You go into, they have a tax piece there, and if you haven't been in there for a while, they actually just started having you confirm your tax information. You can go in and under settings of documents of your tax forms, you can choose your tax form, your tax recognition, first in, first out. First in, last out. There's a couple other versions.
Highest in, out. Yeah. HIFO, LIFO, FIFO.
Yeah. But then also all of those transactions that they don't know. And even if you have bound a DeFi wallet, like a MetaMask or your Coinbase app, wallet app to your Coinbase, it still doesn't recognize it, and because they're saying, hey, did you make money, or what is this you just transferring between you and yourself? So you can go through and you can designate self to self, paying for a service and stuff like that. If you're like most people, you're doing trades on DeFi and you're doing stuff from like a self custody wallet. So if you're sending stuff from yourself, from your MetaMask or whatever wallet to your Coinbase, mark it as a payment for self to self. Now, if you're using your Coinbase card to pay for services, obviously then that is not a self to self. That is a taxable event, right?
Definitely. Yep. Exactly. I mean, when you use crypto to pay for something, it's that you're literally selling your crypto. So you're realizing a taxable event. So you go into Coinbase. And then also, by the way, like crypto tax products are very helpful, but really if you don't use wallets heavily and you mostly stay on Coinbase, you should be able to get an entire form from them. And then in the case where you can't, you can kind of edit some of those things. And then if you do use wallets and you do trading on chain, you're going to want to use a crypto tax product. So generally, if you don't trade a lot on chain, which I think most people watching this probably do trade on chain, you can just use Coinbase completely. It's good to go and tag the stuff like you were saying in there, and HIFO, FIFO, LIFO, etc.
What would you say is your favorite way or best way of recognizing tax? Because what's really interesting is you can't, at this moment, like at least with that form, you can't choose like to look at some of it as HIFO and some of it as LIFO. It's all or nothing, and that's a common tax practice that you have to use the same tax standard across the board. So Where have you seen the best results for people?
So it really depends on your activity. I would say if you trade in and out of stuff really quickly, HIFOs generally actually ends up most of the time being better, because you want to sell, like let's say you bought ETH for $100 and $500 and then you sold an ETH, you want to use that $500 to minimize the gains you sold. So I think HIFO, if you're trading in and out of stuff frequently, HIFO most of the time, none of this is like golden rule, most of the time is better. If you are a long-term holder, so some of our users, they bought ETH at like $15, right? They're like been in ETH for forever. And those people generally, I think FIFO is better because they plan on holding onto their tokens for a very long time. And then when they sell, it's always long-term. And so FIFO can be generally, better. It's not one is better than the other. You can kind of switch around to see which one is best for you. That being said, you do need to stay consistent. So like between tax years, you can't just like HIFO 1 year or like HIFO for your whole account and then switch it to FIFO for your full account the next year. You actually need to document it properly. And like every year has to be like, because what happens if you use HIFO and then you switch to FIFO for your whole thing, then all of a sudden like you're reusing the same tax lots. And so your actual calculations could become off. And so it's generally best to pick one. And then depending on your trading, like if you are very in and out of trades, HIFO most of the time ends up being better. And if you are like a long-term, you buy and hodl, usually FIFO is kind of the one.
And in this weird world, that's 2 years capital gains.
What's 2 years capital gains?
Yeah, that's holding for 2 years or longer would be considered your long-term holders there.
So in the US, it's just 12 months. So as long as you're 12 months.
12 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 12 months. Why did I think it was 2? Oh, I was thinking property.
Also, some other countries, by the way, are like 2 or 3 years. Like I think the Czech Republic is like 3 years, something like that. So different countries have different stuff. And then I think property has different ones for crypto, and for like, it's the same as with US equities, which is a year is the long-term capital gain.
Now as we're starting to see like, and different things come on chain, do they still fall under crypto regulation, or do they like now there's property stuff on chain? Like property, like is that a property designated piece?
You can argue that as long as like, let's say you take a property and you break it into like 10 tokens and you're buying and selling tokens, you can argue each of those tokens is crypto. So it's kind of the same as we've always done things. It will be very interesting though, as we see more like real world assets come on chain. I'm sure like none of this, I mean, all this stuff is so new. Regulations are kind of just always playing catch up to all this stuff. Like we still don't have rules on bridging and wrapping. Like the IRS has not declared like this is taxable or not taxable for bridging, wrapping, LST minting, all those things. And so I think there's like a bit of game of catch up that will be continued to be played. I think there's like probably a good argument that a lot of these things that are tokenized, it is, similar to like how you would happen with like USDC, for example. Like that's a real world asset on chain. And technically every time you use it, it's a tax event, which is different than like fiat, for example. So I think we're probably going to continue to like see regulation lag behind all the innovation that's happening and be clarified later. And then in the short term, we probably use similar kind of analogies to what we've done in the past. That's what usually CPAs do, right? It's a lot of reasoning by analogy. And I think we'll probably continue to be like, oh, it's just crypto. Like it might be representing a different type of asset, but it is a crypto token. It's a token on a blockchain. And so that's kind of how we'll treat it until there's regulations that come and maybe specify otherwise.
And as always, the best thing that protects you as a taxpayer is best effort.
100%. Yep.
And because this is when you were saying real world assets, like one of the things that you know BZ, right?
Yeah.
You're going from token to NFT to possibly real world asset, or you're selling it. Yep. And then you're going to USDC. So if you're going from even USDC to USDT, that's technically a Forex trade. That's a taxable event. Exactly. Even if you're going from $100 to $100.
Yep.
So,
and there'll probably be no gain on that. Maybe it's like a penny or 2 pennies, but it is a tax event. You are swapping. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that was interesting watching yesterday. USDC, USDT didn't depeg. It was all of these alts and all of these DeFi protocol tokens and stuff like that. And what's really hilarious is while yes, you are tracking all of these events and stuff on chain as a recognizing state, one of the biggest partners that's coming out for the US government is Chainlink. And that means all the data now. So if you think you can get away with it now, do you think you can get away with it between now and the next 3 years? Or do you think that someone's going to have that state record at some point? And an AI agent.
I would not bet against companies like Chainlink. I mean, some of our competitors, all these the government agencies are getting access to this data. So it basically goes back to make a best effort, right? You should be trying to make an effort on this stuff. In the next 3 years, it's very unlikely you'll be able to get away with it, especially because there's so much money and so much incentive for the government to be able to understand this stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of companies. I mean, Awaken, we don't sell to the IRS. Maybe at some point the IRS wants our data. I don't know if we'll ever do that. Who knows? But the IRS.
Oh, they'll come with a subpoena before they come with dollars.
What is that?
They'll come with a subpoena before they come to you with dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, so that was one of the things you talked about. You're working SOC 2 compliance. And obviously working with multiple countries and stuff like that and tax regulations. You're working under ISO regulations and stuff like that. You said a million lines of code. So are you in the process of getting audited, or have you gotten audited yet?
Audited by a security tester for our code, or
yeah.
We have in the past. We're actually undergoing our annual penetration testing right now, starting in 9 days. So
Who's doing it?
Highland Security. They do I think they did Etherfuse. They've done a couple other bigger crypto companies. So we're doing our annual pen testing with them. We are SOC 2 compliant, so we've done pen testing in the past. And I mean, it's important for us because our users trust us with a lot of data. It's important that we protect that data.
And not just the data, but their information. It's one of those things where, taxes have always sort of been considered a private thing, and it's really hilarious how much data we put out on the internet and how much I love watching Zach XBT work. He's this scammer, published this wallet address 3 years ago as a GoFundMe address that they had control of, and this is how we found them today, and you're like, man, you're silly. But what's really hilarious is how much just an ENS, how much you can track from an ENS. You put my ENS, you'll find my LinkedIn, you'll find, hell, you'll even find my Sessionize speaker profile, and then you'll find a lot of weird, you might find a New York Times article and other random weird things. And so there's it's just one of those really interesting things, how much people think that they can hide in this pseudo anonymity world, yet they tie it so much to their public profile as well at the same time.
Yeah, it is really interesting. Yeah, we see that happen all the time, right?
All right. So for me to use your platform, you need to add a wallet. And so what's the current cost of platform costs and stuff like that for different tiers of users? And what does that look like?
So it varies. We have a pretty generous free tier. So if you do less than a transaction, if you do a transaction a day on chain, you basically use Awaken for free. which is like no one else does that type of thing. I mean, we want more people to come on chain. So like, we're like, use this for free. Like you're coming on chain, you're doing a transaction a day. Great. That's a great place to get started. Our average user spends around $200 a year. We go up to like in the thousands of dollars for like really like super on-chain people that we help out. And we do have like some services where we can help you categorize your stuff, etc. So it really ranges. The average person spends $200 a year. That being said, we actually are working on it right now, so I don't want to release it fully, but we're going to offer some pretty crazy incentives if you switch to us from a competitor like Crypto Tax Calculator. So if you switch to us from Crypto Tax Calculator, we have it like literally we'll port your data over for you. Like we have a whole feature around that, and it will probably be free for you this year. So we haven't released any of the details, but we're going pretty aggressive.
All right. So you heard it here first that if you use Crypto Tax Calculator, there is a import my data feature on Awaken Tax, and you will be able to get your taxes done
for free, probably. Yeah, like we're
doing. Not your taxes, but your on-chain taxes.
Your on-chain taxes. You get a final report, something that would charge, Crypto Tax Calculator. We would charge you normally $200 a year, zero. And so we're gonna be releasing some more information on the dates that we're going to be running these promos, but like we literally have one for Crypto Tax Calculator, Coinly, Token Tax, some others, and we're going to make it very easy to switch, and then we're going to make it a no-brainer because like ultimately we just want our product to be used by as many people as possible. I actually don't care about making money. Like we're very well capitalized and profitable already, and so I want our product to be used by more people, and we're going to make it very easy for you to do that this year.
Yeah, like year one, taxes are free.
Yeah, exactly. Which would be awesome. I mean, it's great. It's great for everyone too, and then also it's a great chance you can try us. No risk, right? You can see what you like about the product, what you don't. And it's just like a really great way for you to get to know the product. And then if you like it, keep using us and you can pay us later. But we want to like prove value to you the first year, and we don't need to charge you money to do that. So we're excited to offer some awesome stuff there. You heard it here first. There'll be more details in the next like month or two that we're going to release.
And yeah, so like that's for those that want to sign up, Awaken, AWAKEN .tax, TAX.
Yeah, and then maybe I'll make a referral code too and pass it your way. I mean, everyone's going to get a good discount anyways, probably free, but let's get a referral code going too.
Taco 50.
Taco Fit, that's yours. I'll set it up for you after.
That's what I'm getting. Nick was like Taco 30. I was like, what about Taco 50? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, Taco 50.
Taco 50.
And no, I could harass Nick and be like, hey, Nick, Awaken gave me a Taco 50 discount code. What can you do, sir?
Yeah, do it. Let's do a little game recognized game. It's not.
Yeah. All right. So, and this was something that you're just crypto. That's it.
Yep. We're just crypto. And I think in the future, by the way, I think that we like help you with your full tax filing. But right now there's so much work to do doing the crypto portion. Like we want to stay focused as a small team, making sure that we just keep up to date on all the new chains, all the new protocols, all that stuff, really focusing on crypto. I imagine over time we do kind of go into other stuff too, especially as we have more and more users and we get into the millions. But right now, very focused on crypto.
So like then that like the question then comes is like, what are you guys looking at doing like towards like gig workers that work in crypto and stuff like that? Do you help categorize that stuff? Because then is like what they're doing on chain, is it work?
Yeah, it's interesting. We do help them. Yeah, and people that get paid in USDC or some people get paid in ETH, etc. If it's like your primary income stream, like Awaken's like really good for that. We have a lot of people who literally earn like all of their income on chain and they use Awaken. So I think we start to see that more and more over time, and especially with like USDC and like stablecoin just like absolutely booming. Like we make a lot of our vendor payments, our sponsorships, etc. We pay in USDC. We love it. And I think that happens more and more, and all that you need to document, right, for your own taxes as a business, or if you're like a sole proprietor doing gig work, or you have a company and you're the main employee and you're earning money on chain. We do help people with that all the time.
Yeah, because like you always have expenses as a gig worker, especially a content creator. Whether it's your camera equipment, cables. You lose your cables all the time. But then here's the question: if you go to a conference and you pick up a whole bunch of swag, is that a taxable event?
Likely no. I mean, I would say probably not. I mean, like people give away swag for free all the time, right? At conferences. So,
but like it depends on what like the swag, like some like
if you
value
get the swag and you resell it and you make money on it.
You resell is a whole different thing. But like if you're getting like I got a almost a $300 suitcase. Yeah.
Great gift.
Shout out to Elbank.
It's great. There you go. That's a
Yeah.
$3 suitcase. That's awesome. How do I get one of those?
Yeah. You got to go and play like their games. Like they had. Were you at Token 2049?
I was thinking about it, but I didn't get going.
Or KBW?
No.
So Elbank had an amazing event at KBW because like they're really Korea focused. They took over this amazing like little palace restaurant place venue, and like they had all these activation games with like different like protocols or products at each one, and like but it was all like everything was Squid Game.
That's cool.
Like had to go play hibachi.
Yeah, that's good.
Had to go kick that shuttlecock, 5 times to get a stamp, and then had to go. I chose the umbrella, but they had the triangle, they had the circle. I chose the umbrella, and that was, I knew I had my own little way of figuring out how to break it, and so I thought those things were hilarious and fun and engaging. But yeah, no. Huge shout out to Eric. He did an amazing job, and the entire comms team, and but no, it's all like these different events and like airdrops is like how do you track all of that stuff at the end of the day? And is it a taxable event at the time of the airdrop when you claim it, or when you eventually sell it? What happens if you stake it right away?
Yeah, I mean, the most conservative way that we do, by the way, is like it is income when you claim it at FMV. Doesn't matter if it's like income, and then if you stake it right away, it's income, and then you staked it, and then maybe when you pull it out and you sell it, the price is locked in at the FMV when you received it. So I mean, as Awaken, and I think every crypto tax product, we basically have to do the most conservative approach. And so we treat it as income. We actually do have toggles where if you don't want to treat it as income, you can toggle that off. We don't recommend it. Some countries they actually don't treat this stuff as income, which is awesome for those countries. US is not one of them. So it's generally treated at the FMV when you receive it.
Or if you're in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, if you're in Puerto Rico, you might be in luck. But definitely talk to your CPA if you're in Puerto Rico.
Definitely, 100%. Always talk to the CPA.
Always talk to the CPA.
And you guys have CPAs on hand, right?
We have a whole list of CPAs that are really great that we work with. So you can hit up any of them. If you want a CPA, you can send me a DM too. I'm happy to introduce you to some awesome folks. Like we work with a lot of CPAs. A lot of our users use CPAs that are great. We have CPAs on retainer for our own advice when we're implementing stuff. So there's definitely a few amazing Web3 crypto focused CPAs that understand this stuff. And there aren't like a bunch of them. So we do have all of those. I think it's at like awaken.tax/CPAs. We have a big list there of good people that we've kind of got to know.
You guys help founders as well with projects and raising as well, if they're doing stuff on chain.
Yeah, so we don't necessarily help with like raising or anything, but
not with the raising, but like keeping track of stuff.
For accounting, for sure. I mean, absolutely. I mean, this. Awaken uses Awaken. We raised around $1 million-ish, a little bit under $1 million. I think it was like $750K in USDC on chain recently, and then the rest was bank wires, etc. But like a big chunk of change, was on chain when we did our recent raise, and I think that's going to happen more and more. We also work with like Believe for like creator coins and stuff too. Like anyone that's like you making coins on chain, if you're a founder fundraising on chain, all that stuff, like Awaken is pretty great for making sure that you can track it and then get it all properly, reconciled so that you can do your own business, accounting.
So every time I go make a new taco token on every new chain, that's a taxable event, isn't it?
Yes.
What about when I use Zora and I make a new like Instagram post and it launches a token?
I mean, if you make money on the token, yeah, it counts as when you receive the token, when you launch it, and when the coin is made, dollar is $0. But like once you sell it, etc., like you made some money. Awaken will automatically categorize that type of stuff for you. All right. But yeah, all of those are taxable events. Anytime you're making money on chain, it's pretty taxable.
Yep. All right. So yeah, never sell.
If you never sell, no tax event.
No loss.
No loss, no gain.
Yeah. All right. Any last things, Duca, that you want to drop before any knowledge bombs you want to drop? I want to thank you so much for hanging out for so long and covering this.
Course. Yeah, I mean, I apologize for being so late. I'm glad we got to make it happen. Maybe during tax season we can do it again, and we can give people some tips. We could throw out maybe some even bigger discount codes once we have some of this stuff kind of ironed out with the details of the competitor switching. But ultimately, like, I think the last thing I'd like to leave people with is if you try Awaken and you got feedback, like DM me. I love feedback. Like, it's 11:30 for me. I'll probably be coding for a few hours before I go to bed, trying to make the product better. So like, we're really a team that's very on chain. We're very crypto native. We want to make the best product and we work really hard to do that. So if you end up using the product or trying it, we'd love to hear your feedback. Sounds like you already gave us some great feedback about Wallet Connect to, be able to sign in. I think that's something that we can implement pretty quickly. It's already on our list also, so that's great. But if you have feedback while using the product, hit me up. And then, we look forward to hopefully building a really great product for you. And hopefully this year you want to try us out because we got some awesome discounts coming.
That would be awesome to see. So, Duka, once again, I want to thank you so much for joining us. The thing that I have everyone do that chooses to be on this show is help me close this out. So this is how we're going to close this out. The same way we close out every episode. I want to thank everyone for joining us for TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 976, coming to you live from somewhere nowhere, Dallas, Texas today. As we wrap this up, we are going to wrap the same way we end every episode with words of wisdom and the greatest worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. Joke we have told 975 times. So why not tell it for 976? But Duka, 10 seconds, final thoughts, words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. 10 seconds. Okay. I would say I'll do words of wisdom for other founders out there. I think like if you're a founder, just be extremely obsessed about your customer and building the best product. That's what I do. And that is what led to Awaken going from $0 to now $1 million a year in revenue. There's really like only one thing you have to do. Be obsessed about your customer. And that's really it.
All right. I see that. And as always, my words of wisdom are always the same. A closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity can never come knocking. If opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. And with that, we end with the greatest worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. I want to shout out to everyone that's joining us on LinkedIn, Player One Taco YouTube, 0x Degens YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Telegram, Rumble, Kick, on-chain via Abstract. Shout out to all my penguins. Shout out to Arena and all my Arena fighters. And then for the shits and giggles, I hope you guys on Pump Fun learned something today because, 96% of all of that is going to zero. So with that, we end with the greatest worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. Duka, I need your help for this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Knock, knock.
Who's there?